Hey guys, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, become a member of the Care Bear family. It has been so damn long since I've done a video, but this is right after I get home from Galaxycon. So I was Galaxycon in Ohio. I'm not going to say which one, but oh my god. So I had this idea back in June that, oh, I want to go to Galaxycon and Grant Gustin, aka The Flash, would be there. So I want to make him a custom denim jacket. That was in June when I just made this idea. Well, a couple days ago, I actually purchased a jacket, get the paints and everything, and I did it. I made a jacket for Grant Gustin. I have goosebumps everywhere. So, the costume I chose to do was obviously the Flash, and I ordered it off of Amazon, and it took a month to get here, which was insane. I don't know why it took that long, but it did. But either way, it showed up. I purchased some boots from the thrift store. I kind of fell in love with them the way they were. They were just plain black boots, but I had to spray paint them gold for my Flash costume. So, Flash costume is over and the boots are still gold. I'll see if I can remove gold spray paint, but I don't think I'm able to. But let's talk about this convention. So yes, I made a custom denim jacket for Grant Gustin. You're probably thinking, where is it? He has it. Okay, so I get to the convention center and the place is packed. Like, I've been to this convention center before, but it's never been this packed because I think Grant Gustin, Stephen Amell, Charlie Cox, Tara Strong, Steve from Blue's Clues, a Power Ranger, like the first ever Red Power Ranger, and so many more were at this convention. So, needless to say, since The Flash had just ended, they just finished the 9 seasons, and Flash is over. So, the hype for The Flash was so real. There were so many people. So, I have never done this before. Like, this is my first convention by myself. Yeah, I went by myself. It was intense. My social anxiety was through the roof. I was shaking like crazy. I was terrified. And it was very packed. Oh god, I don't even want to think about how many people were there. Maybe 3,000-4,000 people. I could be wrong. There could have been even more than that, but I have no idea. But this was Saturday, and a lot of the stars were here today, so the place was packed. Now it hurts to smile. I've been smiling all night, so my head hurts from smiling so much. So as soon as I get into the convention, I'm like, I've never done this before. Like, where do I go? Like, I've been to a convention before. This was my third one, but I got a photo op with Grant Gustin, and I'm like, is this the photograph line? It turned out to be the autograph line, and it was almost to the other end of the building of that one room. I'm like, well, damn. I knew The Flash was popular, but I didn't think it was this popular. And I'm standing in this line, and I'm like, is this the photo op line? They're like, no, this is actually the autograph line. The photo op section is somewhere over there. I'm like, okay, great. So as soon as I get to the photo op section, that is when I realized that they're calling out sessions, like 1, 2, 3, 4 of different people. People are like, the session 1 for Grant Gustin's photo ops will start in like 20 minutes or something, and I'm like, what session am I? So I check my email. 4. So I had time to kill, and I'm like, okay, Session 4 of Grant Gustin's photo ops are nearing 4 p.m. and here it is 3 p.m. and I'm like, this is gonna be a while. So I decide to walk around, and a couple people saw the denim jacket I made and they wanted to take a picture of it, and they're like, do you make these? And I'm like, this is actually my first time. This is just for me to see if I should actually do this. This is for Grant Gustin. They're like, oh my god, he's gonna love it. And everyone was just like, where do you buy these jackets? Like, I want one of these jackets. And I'm like, well, now I know that I actually can do this. Like, I can actually make denim jackets and people would buy them because a lot of people were excited about the jacket that I made for him. So, while I'm walking around, a lot of people are smiling at my costume and smiling at the jacket. A couple people asked to take a picture with me. I was too nervous to ask people for a picture, but I did compliment a few people. Like, it takes a lot of, like, confidence to be like, hey, can I get a picture with you? Like, to a complete stranger. Like, it takes a lot of confidence and strength, which I don't have. So, a couple of people asked me for a picture. I was too scared to ask them for a picture. A lot of cute guys were smiling at me. I'm like, so this is the dating apps I need to go to. I need to go to more conventions because they're the convention people, like the nerds and everything. They're really attractive. I'm like, okay, so to meet attractive people, I need to go to more conventions. Okay, got it. So, since I had to wait a while for my photo op with Grant Gustin, I decided to look around at some of the vendors, and I got a Flash Funko Pop. There were two, and I'm like, one was him running, and then there was this one. And I asked one of the vendors, I'm like, which one do you like better? Do you like the running one or this one? They're both the same price. They're like, oh, the lightning bolt one's cooler. So I'm like, okay, I'll get that one. And then I go over to another vendor. I got a bookmark. I should let you know, I don't read. But it's Grant Gustin. It's got the Flash on it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting it. Let's just say I went Flash happy. I didn't get a lot because I was worried about spending too much. So I got this bookmark. I got this Funko Pop. There was a vendor that had the badges of different like characters, like Spencer Reed. Like they had all the Criminal Minds one. They had the Supernatural FBI badges. They had Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man Oscorp badge. They even had a Barry Allen one. I had them in my hands and I put them back. I am ashamed. I should have kept them. But I didn't want to spend too much. Well, joke's on me. I got double charged for my Uber ride home, so. Well, after I'm going through all these booths, all of a sudden I'm seeing Power Ranger. I'm like, wait, what the? Austin St. John is the Power Ranger that's having meet and greets right now. I'm like, wait a second. I'm looking at the pictures and I'm like, this is Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. As soon as I looked up, I think it's Dwayne Bolton, I believe that's his name, who played Tyzon in Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. The Mercury Ranger. One of my favorites. I'm like, oh my god. They're like, he said, are you a fan of Power Rangers? I'm like, mm-hmm. He's like, June. And I'm like, holy crap. And I'm like, wait, I thought there was only one Power Ranger here. There's two? He's like, mm-hmm. I was giggling so hard. And I was fangirling like crazy. I'm like, I thought I was just here to meet one of my childhood heroes. No, I actually found my childhood. And I'm like, I started asking him questions like, scheduling and everything. And I'm like, good Lord. You filmed all of Power Rangers Operation Overdrive in 7th-month period, having to wake up at 6 a.m. and having 16 to 18 hour long filming days. I'm like, wow. He's like, who was your favorite ranger in like Operation Overdrive? I'm like, yours, Tyson. He's like, oh, great. He's like, you big fan of Power Rangers? I'm like, since I was 9, I'm 26 now, so yeah. I said, I actually just watched Power Rangers a couple days ago, which is true. So, I'm like, this can't be real. I'm not meeting one of my favorite Power Rangers right now. He's like, no, it's real. And he's like, do you want me to prove I'm real? I'm like, he gave me a hug. Then we kept on. Then I was asking him more questions, and he asked me like, "What, like, would you ever want to be a Power Ranger?" I can't even talk. I said, "Yeah, with my childhood and everything, I dreamt about being a Power Ranger. Still do." He's like, "What color would you be?" I said, "Maybe green." He's like, "What shade of green you talking?" He's like, "Tommy Oliver green or darker green." I'm like, "Probably dark green." Or the other option is purple. He's like, oh, okay, you like the not so common ones. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's why Tyson is one of my favorites, because I loved his costume. So I was like, dude, can I get a picture with you? He's like, unfortunately, I do have to charge you for that. And I'm like, how much are we talking? He said, for a picture, I can charge $60. And an autograph would be another $60, or you can combine them. And I'm like, I will think about it. And he's like, hey, if you ever reconsider and actually want to get a picture, he told me how long he was there. He's like, I'm here till like 8 or something. And I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. He's like, just to prove I'm real to you one more time, hugged me, kissed me. He's like, just to prove I'm real, I will give you another hug. He's like, just to prove I'm extra real. He kissed me on the cheek. This guy is probably in his 40s, like probably late 30s, early 40s or something. So I'm like, I just got kissed by a Power Ranger. He is probably double my age, which is a little awkward, but Tyson was a favorite Power Ranger, and I'm like, I just met Tyson. I met Tyson. I'm like, he showed me the morpher. He also said, oh, I wasn't just in Operation Overdrive. Like, what other? He's like, I was in other series. I'm like, yeah, you're in SPD and Dino Thunder. Now I'm looking at those two characters. I'm like, naughty boy. Because actually, in those series, Dino Thunder and SPD, he actually was a bully in those series. And I'm like, He was laughing when I did that. I'm like, nope. Operation Overdrive is my favorite. So he showed me the script of one of the episodes. Once a Ranger, which was actually the SPD, Operation Overdrive, Dino Thunder, Mighty Morphing, Mystic Force, and Ninja Storm collaboration. You're probably thinking, how in the hell are all these series in like one series? So Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, there is this whole like 2-3-parter episode or something called Once a Ranger. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger. So somehow the Operation Overdrive Power Rangers lose their powers and lose their link to the morphing grid. So Power Rangers from the past and future time travel and help out the Operation Overdrive Rangers. So that's Xander from Mystic Force. I'm such a nerd that I'm geeking out over Power Rangers. Okay. Xander from Mystic Force, Bridge from SPD, Tori from Ninja Storm, Kira from Dino Thunder, and Adam from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So this guy, Dwayne Bolton, who played Tyzon, had the cast picture of the Overdrive Rangers and the other Rangers. I'm like, he showed me the morpher. He's like, look, Carrie, this is the morpher. I told him my name was Carrie. He's like, it's Carrie, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he said, Carrie, this is the morpher. I'm like, I was losing it. He's like, have you ever had any like Ranger merchandise? I'm like, unfortunately, no, I can never afford it. Also, I was a child and I was really into Power Rangers. But yeah, he hugged me again just to prove he's extra real. He kissed me on the cheek, which was a little awkward considering the age gap. There was definitely an age gap. This is an older man kissing a girl in her mid-20s, but okay. So that happened. So after that whole thing, I did some more walking around and everything, and it's photo op time with Grant Gustin. I'm like, it's time. I gotta take this jacket off because I was wearing it. I was wearing it for extra coverage, and I'm like, oh gosh, this skin tight little Flash costume and everything, and I'm like, I'm sweating like crazy, and I have to take this jacket off. I'm like, oh god, am I sweating? I actually made friends with a girl in line next to me. Apparently, her 9th birthday was when she really got into the Flash and everything, and her 9th birthday was actually Flash themed, and this was her 16th birthday present to meet Grant Gustin and everything. She was crying her eyes out, the poor sweet thing. And I'm like, you're gonna make me cry, like, just watching you cry. I'm like, how am I not crying? Like, I had a leg injury in high school. A little time after that, like maybe 1.5 to 2 years later, while I'm in pain now, after my fall in high school, downstairs, I'm wearing knee braces now, I'm in pain, like, my life's changed. 1.5 years to 2 years later, Flash airs on CW for the first time. And instantly fell in love with the Flash. And I'm like, how am I not crying? So we're just waiting in line and everything. We start making conversation. I say, look, I made this jacket. I'm actually going to try giving it to him. They're like, oh my god. They're like, that's amazing. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, what if the security guard doesn't allow me to give this jacket to him? They're like, fingers crossed. And I'm like, yes, fingers crossed. I really want to give him this jacket. So she said, were you in front of me? Actually, I was actually in front of her. I'm like, ladies first. I'm gonna have her go first. As soon as she got her picture, she was bawling her eyes out and crying. I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to meet Grant Gustin. I did not get to have him record a little video for Jessica since she wasn't able to get there. Unfortunately, I was too nervous to ask, and he's very popular, so needless to say, the lines and everything, they had to be like, photo, goodbye. So it was a very fast experience. So it was my turn. So first I'm like, it's nice to meet you and everything, and then I take off the jacket off of me and I'd be like, I made this for you. He's like, you made it for me? I'm like, yeah. I stayed up till like 4 a.m. last night making it. He's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. He's like, thank you. Then we got our picture taken together. He hugged me. I have the picture. He hugged me. Not once, but twice. Oh wait, no, there was actually a third time because he hugged me again when I got his autograph. And he liked the jacket. I'm like, I said, I really hope it fits. I got a large and I hope it fits. I didn't even know if I was actually allowed to give the jacket to him, but he took it. He actually took it. He's like, this is amazing. Then he set it down on the chair. We took our picture. I gave him another hug. And as soon as I walked away, I'm like, oh my God, that happened. That happened. And boom. I had an episode. Like, I'm this far away from him. Like, I'm divided by a curtain. And there's this little area for you to go around away from the curtains. Then you go pick up your picture. I was right behind the curtain where he was. And I fell. My leg collapsed on me. I hit my elbow a little bit. Actually, I don't know. I don't think I have a mark. Little bruise. It's fine. But I wasn't worried about my elbow. I was worried about my leg. I'm like, great. I just collapsed after meeting Grant Gustin. Not out of happiness and everything, but because of my leg injury. And I started spasming. I am not even like 3 feet away from Grant Gustin behind that curtain, and I'm collapsed on the floor having a spasm attack. And I was like freaking out, like he was going to come out behind the curtain and be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Did not happen. I was actually hoping for it to happen and like help sit me on a chair or something and be like, hey, are you okay and everything. No, he kept on going on with his pictures. But the security guards and everything by him were like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And I'm like, well, I think it was my shoes that did it to me. I don't know. Or the excitement and everything. But I'm like, well, I got tendonitis. I have spasm attacks. My legs tighten and they actually cause me to collapse. And I'm having an episode right now. They're like, did you get your picture with him? I'm like, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did get my picture. They're like, do you need a chair or something? And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm just like, I just gotta let these episodes like ride out. Sometimes I just have to sit around, do nothing, just let it happen. Then after it calms down, I just stretch out my leg, ice it, and just walk it off. So they got me a chair. All of a sudden, there's a gurney. And it rolled past Grant Gustin to get to me. I don't know if he actually saw the gurney, because when I got my picture signed by him, I was like, you remember that like wheelchair, like that gurney thing that drove past you? He's like, I don't recall. I'm like, well, that was me actually collapsed right outside of our picture taken. I'm like, I'm okay and everything, but yeah, that happened. So they get me in a gurney. I'm sitting in this chair. All of a sudden, Colin O Donaghue from Once Upon a Time walks past me to get to his photo op. He's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. This happens. And I said, it's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too. And goes off to his photo op. I briefly met Colin O Donaghue, Killian Jones, Hook from Once Upon a Time. So that was embarrassing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I come here to see the Flash, the fastest man alive, and runs faster than anyone else. And here, I can barely walk because I just collapsed and I'm wearing a Flash costume. So these first aid guys get me into a gurney, and all of a sudden, this guy comes by. He's like, I actually do like a little bit of massage therapy. I don't like massages, first off. So I'm like, oh gosh. He's like, if I can help in any way, I'm a massage therapist and I can see if I can help like soothe your pain. Well, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was massaging or anything, but he was pressing, like digging his fingers and everything into my leg, and all of a sudden he hits a spot and I'm like, ow. He's like, it's all right. It's gonna hurt. And I'm like, yeah, it hurts. And he's just trying to massage my leg and being like, trying to help me. I'm like, this is not helping. He's like, I'm sorry it didn't help and everything. I'm like, it's fine. And then they wheel me to the first aid section. Oh, this is where the story gets funny. So I'm wearing a Flash costume and everything, and I'm getting wheelchaired into first aid. They're like, some people were like, well, that's a great way to travel. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in the first aid section with these two, like, first aid workers or something, I don't know. And they're like, is there anything we can do? I'm like, usually I just have to let these episodes phase out on their own. Then once they start like easing up, that's when I stretch my leg and then I just walk it off. Like, usually these episodes can last an hour. Sometimes they can last like 15-20 minutes. You never know. Luckily, this was a slow one, and it only lasted like 20 minutes. But they're like, show me you bend your leg. And I show him. He's like, is it just one leg or is it both? I'm like, it's trying to happen in both legs, but it's mainly one. He's like, bend your leg. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. So I bent my left leg. It shook a little bit, but then I showed him my right leg, the one that caused me to collapse. He's like, oh gosh. It was bad. It was badly shaking. And every time I tried bending it, it would tighten, so it'd make the shaking worse. He's like, okay, that's not good. I'm like, nah, I'm used to it. This happens a lot. He's like, wait, did you get your picture? I'm like, I did get my picture taken, but since I collapsed after getting my picture taken, I didn't get to get my picture. And I said, I don't know if it printed yet. He's like, okay, this may sound weird, but can I get a picture of you so that I can go back to that photo op section and get your picture for you? I'm like, sure. He took a picture of me sitting in a chair in a Flash costume with my legs spasming and goes to the photo op section to get my picture. I'm like, thank you. And then my legs started easing up, and then I hear from the first aid response being like, hey, we got another collapse. And they're like, we got a collapse at Steve Burns section. And they're like, who the heck is Steve Burns? I'm like, Blue's Clues. It's Steve from Blue's Clues. They're like, oh. I don't know if they really cared. But I'm like, yeah, that's Steve from Blue's Clues. That's the section you gotta go to. Which was 2 to 3 booths away from Grant Gustin's autograph section. So, as soon as they said, oh, we got another collapse, that's when my legs started easing up and everything. And I start walking around. I'm like, oh, great, now I'm limping. And the girl I ran into, she's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, well, I got my picture and everything. And she's like, are you okay? Like, with the whole collapse, because she was next to me when I collapsed and everything. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, honestly, no, I'm not okay. Like, the spasming hasn't stopped, but the tightening's loosened up a little bit so I can walk, but unfortunately I'm going to be limping a little bit. She said, this may be weird, but can I get your phone number? I just feel like we connected and everything. I'm like, sure. So the Wi-Fi sucked in there. So instead of me giving her my phone number, she just took a picture of my phone number. And I don't know, maybe she'll text me and be like, hi, I'm so-and-so from the convention, because I never got her name. She heard my name because I said, oh, just call me Carrie Allen today instead of Barry Allen with the Flash. So then I just kept walking around the convention. I'm like, great, now I'm limping. And people are like, great costume. I'm like, thank you. So I was happy. And then it continued. The happiness continued. I was in line because I wanted to just talk to Grant Gustin after my photo op. I wanted to go to the autograph section and just talk to him and be like, hey, this is my story and everything. Like, your show, The Flash, changed my life and everything. But it was the autograph line, and I'm like, I can't afford to get my autograph from him. So this girl, the sweetest girl, I should have got her name and number, being like, thank you so much for doing that for me. So apparently, with the autographs, as long as you have a post-it note on your like item that you want signed, they just take your word for that. Like, they don't check the database and everything to make sure that, oh, this person actually has paid for an autograph. You just go by the post notes. So she said, here, I already got my picture with Grant Gustin signed. Here, I'm gonna put this post-it note on your picture so you can get his autograph. I'm like, oh my god, thank you. So as long as you have a post-it note on the item or the picture that you want signed by the celebrity, you don't have to pay for it. So I didn't pay for his autograph. She just put this post-it note on my picture and be like, they don't check if you actually paid. You just have to have a post-it note and then you get the autograph. And I'm like, so I'm actually standing in line waiting to get my picture signed. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna see him again. And then when I'm up there at his booth and everything, he's so tired. Like, his poor thing, like, his hands were all red and everything. He was exhausted. And he was very popular, so I can understand the exhaustion. And I had fun with one of these people being like, hi, how do you spell, because they have to be like, instead of the performer or the artist asking like, hi, what's your name, how do you spell it, they write it on a post-it note, and then once the artist sees the post-it note, they know how to spell your name and everything. So you don't have to be like, hi, my name's Carrie, this is how you spell it. So this person that was writing my name on the post-it note to get signed by Grant Gustin, he's like, what's your name? I'm like, it's Carrie. They're like, Carrie Ann? I'm like, no. Because I said, oh, I'm Carrie Allen. They're like, how do you spell it? I'm like, no. I said, how do you think it's spelled? And he tried spelling it, and I'm like, because he thought my name was Carrie Ann. So he said, Karrieann. I'm like, no. So I say Kari. He's like, oh, it's Carrie. I'm like, yeah, it's not Carrie Ann. So we had a little fun right there. He's been like, people can never spell my name. People can never spell my name. People can never guess my age right. Like, this is just fun. And then the woman, I think that was Grant Gustin's security guard. She said, oh, honey, you look so cute and everything. I'm like, thank you. And she said, I actually said, I made a denim jacket, actually. She's like, oh, yeah, we have it. I'm like, wait, what? She said, yeah, any gift that Grant gets, we have right here. And she's like, that jacket's amazing. And I'm like, thank you. I made it myself. And she was surprised that I made it myself. And I said, I even added glow-in-the-dark lightning bolts on the sleeves and everything. She's like, it's amazing. I'm like, thank you. And then next to the security guard was Grant Gustin. And I got to see him again. I'm like, nice to see you again. He's like, nice to see you again too. And I'm like, right after I got my picture taken with you, I don't know if you saw, but there was a gurney rolling past. That was me. He's like, I don't recall seeing it, but what happened? I'm like, I fell. I said, I've had this leg injury thing since high school and everything, so sometimes my leg gives out of me and I collapse. And just a year and a half to 2 years later, the Flash series airs and changed my life and make me believe in the impossible that one day I'll feel better. And I'm like, I said, did you like the jacket? He's like, oh yeah, I actually really like it. I'm like, yeah! I'm like, thank you. And then I asked him if I could give him a hug. He hugged me so tight. And I said to him, you're amazing. He's like, thank you. And then that was the end of my night, and it was the best day of my life. So as soon as that was over and everything, I messaged Grant Gustin on Instagram and be like, hey, I just want to say thank you for the picture, and I really hope you like the jacket. Don't know if I'll get a response, but this day was awesome.